Welcome to Season 6, Episode 8 of The Sailing Show, the monthly podcast that will steer and inspire you along your sailing journey. I'm Abby Aleh. I've competed in the Volvo Ocean Race 3 times and worked shoreside with the America's Cup and Sail GP. I'm also a director of the Magenta Project, a UK charity organisation that is committed to developing pathways and generating opportunities for women in performance sailing. On this podcast, I'll be chatting to a wide range of women within the sailing community, including Olympic champions, ocean racers, change makers, and up-and-coming champions. In this edition of The Sailing Show, I'll be interviewing 2 female Olympic sailors who have recently returned from Tokyo to get a broad picture of different experiences and stories from this Olympic Games. My 2 guests today have had very different journeys to Tokyo. My first guest, Susann Beucke from Germany. Tokyo was her 3rd attempt to compete at the Games. Susann has campaigned in the 470 and most recently competed in the 49er FX class, winning the European Champions in 2020 and going on to win an Olympic silver medal at Tokyo. I started out by asking Susann about her journey to Tokyo, including the highlights, the lowlights, the transitions from different classes, and particular points that have led to this fantastic achievement at Tokyo.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much, Abby, for having me here. It's a great honor because I've been listening to Magenta podcasts years ago and can really imagine the situation that many girls are in. You want to get started, but you don't know really how. So it's always really nice to get inspiration from others. So it's kind of crazy that I'm here right now. I think our journey to Tokyo or to finally a medal was probably the longest in the whole 49 FX class. It started back in 2007 when Tina and me started sailing together in the 29er, but very quickly decided that we want to be or sail on an Olympic level. So then we went into 420 because back then there was no 49 FX yet. But just to make things shorter, Tokyo was our 3rd attempt to get to the Olympic Games, which is quite crazy because we didn't manage to qualify for London and for Rio. And then, to give it a go for a 3rd time was a bit crazy somehow. But right now I'm happy we did it. And there's been many setbacks on our way. Obviously, first of all, you give everything into a full 4-year campaign and then you end up not even qualifying. But it is because in sailing, there's obviously just one team per nation which can qualify, which is pretty strict rule. And in London, we were good. We were really prepared, but we were just 19 and 20. And then in the last regatta, so we always have 3 regattas, and the 3rd one was the Worlds in Perth. We were under the top 10 in the 470 fleet, and we were just 19 and 20 and super like, woohoo, wow, we were really good. And then suddenly our teammates who were around the 30th place that time, they decided to match race us. And we didn't expect it because we were green behind our ears. That's what you just say in German. Like we had no clue that this could happen, to be very honest. And we tried to defend the match racing in fleet racing, but it's not possible. So they sailed us down to a 18th or 19th place. The frustrating thing was in the end, we qualified the nation because we thought, well, we just qualified. Let's see what happens. Maybe the federation will still decide to send us because we've been qualifying Germany. But we qualified Germany, the others went, and it's been one of the biggest setbacks, I think, so far, because in 2012 that I definitely lost the trust in sport that you are good, you get something. So it took quite a while to recover from this, and then the trials for Rio. We just had another team in our German team that was very competitive, very good, and we still didn't trust ourselves enough after the trials for London. Didn't do good decisions for ourselves, and then we didn't qualify. But now we're here.
Yeah.
How many years later? I think 14 years later.
I mean, just listening to that story, it just goes to show how much perseverance and dedication you have, and the fact that you're able to pick yourself up from such a huge disappointment of not being able to go, say, to the Rio Games, and then here you are medaling in Tokyo. So, I mean, I take my hat off massively, and I mean, to turn it around and to pick yourself up is a huge asset. So I don't know if you can pinpoint that, what it was that's kept driving you, or, you know, is it just that burning desire to win an Olympic medal?
No, actually just the love for sailing, for the sport itself. I'm extremely competitive, but for me, the whole joy about sailing, to be very, very honest, and I think it's a bit of a romantic thing, but I just love to have the wind in my face, to have water in my face. And of course, winning is great, but I just have a really, really deep love for the sport. And just one more thing I wanted to say about the journey, or what I learned from these setbacks, because I really want that others do not do the same mistake as I've been doing, is after setback, you just doubt in yourself so much. You doubt your way, you doubt about your decisions, and then stop doing that. Just do what feels right for you. Just keep on going your way and what feels right to you. So I think if I would have done that, or if we would have done that, it would have cost us a lot of nerves and a lot of time and a lot of hassle.
Yeah, well, I guess it's part of a learning journey, all of it, and all the jigsaw pieces have come together. And then each time you're learning something new, and eventually it all falls into place. And one of the things, like, you've gone into this Tokyo Olympic Games, you've won the European champions in 2020, yet you're racing against the world champions in 2020, gold medalists from the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio. So I'm imagining that the competition is pretty fierce. And one of the things you mentioned to me prior to this interview was that in the 49er FX class, that there's about 7 potential medal winners in the fleet, whereas in some of the other Olympic classes, it's pretty obvious who the standout top 3 are going to be. I mean, how do you deal with that pressure going into an event?
There was some pressure going into these games, but to be very honest, there wasn't as much as before the trials. We always said that if we manage the trials, it's then we have had the most pressure we could possibly have. And also our trials, they were at home during Kieler Woche, and everyone was looking at us and everyone was like, oh, they didn't do it 2 times. Now they will not qualify as well. So going into the games, we were fairly relaxed about still it's games. And then I found the fact a bit funny, actually, because before the games, I saw a video of World Sailing, and they presented all the favorites. And in the last 2 years, as you already said, many different teams have been medaling. And due to Corona, you really didn't know who's going to medal this time and who's on top of their, has a good performance at the moment. And then in this video, I was pretty happy to see that we are in there as well. So it's like, okay, that's a good thing already. But then during the games, we thought, our aim was to keep the medal as far as out of our head as possible. We forced us to not think about a medal. And what helped as well was the COVID surrounding there. So it made the games feel a bit more normal, like to a normal regatta, because obviously there were many spectators and we were anyway quite restricted. So we just tried to keep it as a normal race and just did the routines, and it's actually pretty boring. Then you just do what you've always been doing, just it is just drawing by numbers. Just do what you know.
It's interesting. It's interesting. And there's so many things that you've touched on that I want to ask you about. So I'm going to try and, I want to ask you about the COVID delay and about your confidence building and about that moment when you've crossed the line in that medal race. So I'm so much to ask, but you touched on the delay to the Olympics. And I'd be really interested to understand how, if you saw the that delay, whether it impacted your preparations in a positive way or a negative way. I mean, it becomes a 5-year campaign all of a sudden. And it's amazing, but yeah, I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 4 years, they're definitely enough of an Olympic campaign. That's true. But for us, it was so good because we decided quite late in our campaign that we will work with another coach. And it's been taking us quite a while to gain the confidence to say, we changed everything. And so then we had changed everything. We became 5th in the world. We were about to qualify in Germany for the Olympics. And we became good, but then COVID came. And we just needed this extra time with our coach because he needed some time to convince us that we are good and that we can actually medal. So I think it was not about learning more, but it was about deeply understand that we can be good. And he always said, we need some time for that because you girls, you really have to build up your confidence. And I remember he said that in February 2020, and then a month later we had Corona. And then I thought, wow, this could be good. This could be the extra year that we will need to form our team, to make it very strong and to make us mentally stronger.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you've touched on that, and it's the confidence and what you said about building trust in yourselves. I mean, it's often something that's cited in female athletes, about that lack of confidence, and particularly if you're involved in such a male-dominated industry. And it's something that crops up now time and time again on our mentoring program with the Magenta project, is really about how you build confidence in yourself. And I wondered, just hearing about your time that you had with your coach, Susann Beucke, and how building that confidence was something that was sort of innate in his work with you. I wondered, we talk about this build confidence, trust in yourself. How does that come about? I wondered if you could pinpoint any drills or tricks, or is it something that's just come over time and it's something that comes through positive reinforcement on a daily basis through that coach? Can you shed the light on
that's a very good question. And I think I can actually, because look at us. Tina is a world champion and optimist. We had won previous titles before. It's not like we've been coming from nowhere, but we did not believe that we could win a medal. And I remember after the Worlds in Geelong, we were standing at the bar and with a beer in the hand, and suddenly he looks at me, is like, you have to get used to the fact that you'll probably medal in 1 year. And I looked at him and I said, exactly, you're out of your mind. So first of all, it's this incredible character, Susann Beucke, which is very confident. Whoever knows him, he's very confident. And of course, he's doing that because he knows that in the end, it's a mental game. It is just all in the head. And then, of course, you need to have some abilities. You can't tell yourself you're the greatest if you know internally you haven't done everything to get there. Like, you have to know that you've done everything, and then you can also convince yourself. So you need to work hard, but then just these positive pictures in your mind, how you do it, how you make it. And then sometimes I catch myself having these pictures and I'm like, oh, that's pretty arrogant. And then I always try to think of what can I actually do that this is going to happen. So to always act after I have a picture in my mind. So it's always just about acting and executing, and as well monitoring your self-talk. I mean, and everyone has these negative voices, right? But if you're just able to reduce them by 30%, it's already super good. And just having this goal and getting used to it, and seeing yourself there.
It sounds like a lot of visualization, like almost mental visualization, where you're playing stuff through and believing that you can be there. But as you said, I think having that person that believes in you is probably one of the key points. Would you agree there?
But sometimes I do not even think that he believed in us, to be very honest. I think he knew, though, that this talk is necessary to be good. So it is a bit of talent, and it is a bit of hard work, but in the end, it's also just a lot of believing and seeing yourself there and acting. So the action that is necessary to get there. So I witnessed him during the games talking with another coach about our poor starting at the moment. And I took something and threw at his head and said, do it better. So he wasn't always like, we have done a lot of bad things during the games. So I think it is more necessary, the talk was more necessary to make us think we can do it.
Yeah, having that positive reinforcement in yourself. Yeah, I guess it's interesting, really interesting, but sometimes, easier said than done.
That's what I'm saying. Now it sounds also so easy. If you just minimize it by like 30%, I'd say you're already good. So that's,
yeah. No, I wanted to move on and just to relive really that medal race. It's obviously, it's accumulation of your results over that event, and it's not the finishing order of that last race that's defining who goes where. So, I mean, I've rewatched your race this morning, and I mean, it's still, anything, it was like a bunch of balls that you could throw up in the air and they could have just rolled anywhere. But I mean, the moment you knew that you'd locked in that silver medal, when was the moment? And then how did it feel crossing that finish line?
I always imagined it to be like this big relief and full of emotion kind of thing. But then, you're in this bubble since 3 weeks and you're just focused on your routines. So to be very honest, I was still kind of afraid that something could happen, that something was wrong, that I was still so focused. And so, of course, we're jumping inside the water and we are super happy. But you're always like 80% of the body is still full tensioned and just can't let go that quickly. And then, you mentioned it, that the finish order is not the order of the medals, obviously. And then going through the finish, I knew it must be bronze, but we weren't sure. And no one could tell us if it's silver. And I didn't want to start calculating because, I had the points in my head, but I just didn't want to start calculating because I was not in the mental state to be able to calculate points of others. We were sailing around and asking people, hey, did we win silver or bronze? And no one could tell us to us. And that drove me crazy. And then at some point we just started to celebrate. And we said, you know what, if it's bronze or silver, it doesn't matter. We start celebrating now. Then like 5 minutes later, someone came and said it's silver. And I'm quite happy about that because in this race, anything could have happened. And that's something I'm actually proud about in these games, because if you go as third in the medal race, then of course you're just afraid to become fourth. Like you're just so afraid that everything you have already will be taken from you. And so we kind of managed to overcome that fear. And so that's so actually the end of the regatta is one of the key points for me for the games. Yeah.
Mm. Oh gosh, I mean, that's got to be so nerve-wracking, and so, just that hanging on and that not knowing, and as you said, you're not able to relieve that tension of everything that you've worked towards. Oh gosh, I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, but I still can't believe it. Like I still can't believe it. I'm still kind of in this working action mode and still can't believe that actually, wow, it happened what you always dreamed of. But I think it's kind of normal. It's been a long and hard way.
Yeah, and I think it, as you said, it will take time to sort of sink in and to absorb what you've achieved, and to be able to enjoy it. I guess that's one of the important things now. So moving on, I know you'd mentioned to me that you were keen to get into offshore sailing in the future. You'd like to diversify. So I wanted to put that question back to you and say, well, as you stand now as an Olympic medalist with multiple years experience in an Olympic program, do you see a clear pathway into offshore sailing?
No, not at all. I remember that I always said that medaling at the games will give me kind of very good school report. But then going into offshore sailing, I think all cards will be mixed again. And to be very honest, I think that many of my abilities in sailing, I will not be able to use them in offshore sailing. Maybe the organization skills, the motivation skills, but everything else will be completely new for me. But I'm looking forward to this challenge and to this new world. And I'll need people like you mentoring me to answer questions. And so no, I don't have a clear path, but again, I have kind of a clear vision where I want to be. And
okay.
I'm really looking forward to start that. Yeah.
So what's the vision? Can you share it with us?
It's pretty personal, actually. But I'll,
don't worry.
I want to. No worries. I want to be able to call myself a sailor, like to be really able to earn money with it, and to be booked for regattas, sometimes to have my own project in ocean racing. It would be a dream to become a Florence Artaud from Germany. Maybe whoever knows Florence Artaud, I think she's an amazing woman. And I just love the lifestyle. I can't wait for this, offshore, more adventurous lifestyle, to live somewhere by the ocean, go out sailing once in a while, and just be close to the ocean all the time. So that's my vision.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a fantastic vision. No,
let's see how it works.
Yeah, it's not all as glamorous as it may seem on the outside. But I guess what I wanted to impart, and this just to finish off and wrap up, is sailing is sailing. At the end of the day, it's about making a boat go fast in the conditions that you have, and there are way more transferable skills than perhaps you see, or perhaps that you've mentioned just then, both on and off the water, whether that's, in preparing your boat, attention to detail, project management, and whether it's on the water, trimming a sail, driving a boat. At the ground level, it's the same. And there's obviously a whole bunch more to add into a big boat environment. If you're fully crewed, it's the mechanics of a fully crewed team, the personalities, the people, the timings of manoeuvres, and then add in the equipment, whether it's canting keels, furling sails, driven winches. But I mean, these skills all come with experience, and I think my advice would be to take a skill that you're comfortable with, whether that's trimming a sail or helming the boat or the performance side, whatever it is, and then get yourself onto a big boat. And it doesn't matter what sort of boat it is, but, take every opportunity, because you'll always learn something, and shadow that person that you aspire to be and learn the details of that role, whether it's the simple things of loading a winch and how many turns on a winch for a tack or a jibe. And if it's the main trimmer's role, then it's understanding the controls that you have available, whether it's the rig setup, the Vine, the Traveller, the Cunningham, whatever it is. It's about shadowing that person, but remembering, as you have said to me today, that you have to trust in your own ability and follow your gut instinct. So that is my advice, coming from my experience in the offshore world to you as an Olympic medalist.
And which one is your favorite position on a boat?
For me, I've always been more of a mechanical sailor. So I started off on the bow and basically did years and years on the bow. Absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed the pressure, getting things right. And it's a mechanical role. It's setting things up, it's hoisting sails, it's lowering sails, but it's trying to do it better each time, whether that means doing it quicker, doing it a different way to your competitors. It's always just trying to find that competitive edge, which is no different to what have you been doing in your campaign. So yes, I've never advanced into a brains role, as I call it, but love doing the pit and pit and bow. That would be my favorite positions.
To be very honest, like when you come from dinghy sailing, you have to do everything right, and then to just get perfect in one thing, that's so challenging. Where would I pick it? So that's maybe a thought that many other girls have as well when they start in the dinghy. Yeah. But thank you very much for being here, and I hope some girls will come out now believing more in themselves and just telling themselves that they are great and having this vision and just doing it. Good luck with it.
It's been fantastic. It's been really interesting to chat to you, and really great to hear about that. Building confidence and trusting your gut instinct. So thank you for sharing your words of wisdom, and look forward to following your progress. My second guest today is Erica Dawson from Auckland, New Zealand, who has recently competed in her first Olympic Games in the Nacra 17 class, a mixed crew falling catamaran with Micah Wilkinson. Erica's dream of going to an Olympic Games was initially in the 49er FX class, and she switched to the falling catamaran back in 2018, firstly as a helm before teaming up with Micah and switching to crew in the middle of 2019. The pair showed their huge potential when finishing 7th at the Nacra 17 World Championships in Geelong, Australia, and they are coached by two-time Olympic medalist Jo Aleh. Erica suffered a huge setback in training 5 weeks out from the Games. We hear about the incident, her coping strategy, and her experiences from Tokyo.
So Erica, we got so much to talk about, but I really wanted to start with trying to paint a picture of your Olympic pathway and basically what's led you to compete at the Tokyo Games. So tell us all.
So I first started in the Olympic classes in the 49er FX, straight out of youth classes, which I really loved. And I sailed FX for about 5 years with 2 different sailing partners. And I love sailing in that fleet and love the boat. And then I kind of got to the point where I didn't have anyone to sail with. And I was really keen to keep going in the FX because I felt like I was at the point where I was just kind of cracking into the top 10 and had kind of built quite a lot of experience in it. But I was didn't have anyone to sail with. So then I kind of just jumped in the Nacra with another Kiwi guy for fun and helmed for a while with him, just kind of sailing in New Zealand. And then I thought, this is quite cool going foiling, great skill to learn. And then sort of out of the blue, Micah Wilkinson, who had sailed the Nacra 17 for about 4 years, asked if I wanted to crew for him. And my first thought initially was, I've never crewed before. I'm a helm, so that's a bit foreign to me. So it took quite a while to come to the decision. And then I tried crewing with him for a little bit, and I ended up really enjoying it. And we found that we were working really well together. So we decided this was halfway through 2019. So we had about 6 months until the first Olympic qualifier for Tokyo 2020. And so we thought, okay, we're going to put everything into this and do our best to qualify for the games. Yeah. And then we ended up qualifying, which was...
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was really quite close to what would have been the first games if it had been in its right year. I mean, that's not a lot of training time.
No, it wasn't. And it was, the whole kind of campaign was a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest, because we'd only been sailing together for about 4 weeks. And then there was an interesting situation in the New Zealand Nacra 17 cruise where everyone had kind of split up and then reformed. And so we had 3 new crews, and we got selected to go to the Olympic test event after only 4 weeks of sailing. So we were chucked right in the deep end in Enoshima, and that was a bit of an eye-opener. And we got a bit beaten, but it was a great experience, and we just kind of trained really hard. And then the trials were really close between the 3 teams, and we had a really good last and final regatta, and that we got inside the top 10, so that kind of meant that we were able to qualify New Zealand. So
wow, that's a really great story. So almost this delay of the Olympic Games due to the pandemic has almost been a blessing for your particular situation. I've chatted to another girl who was competing in the 49 FX, and she said a similar thing, where the extra year had really helped her, just needing that settling time. So I mean, I my initial thought, just when you as an outsider, would have been, oh God, this extra year is like a real draw, particularly when you've had such a long lead up time. But it seems that every circumstance is different, and in yours it may have been a blessing.
Yeah, I think so, because it meant that we got to put in those really good hours together. And so I think an extra year was good for us. But at the same time, we kind of realized when we're in Tokyo racing that not being with the fleet, we had kind of suffered, because we hadn't really seen what they were all up to. We were kind of stuck in New Zealand and not able to see all the Europeans who like definitely had a speed edge at the games. But I think overall, yes, it was good for us to have another year. And it was quite cool because we ended up forming a close training partnership with the Australian team. So we were able to travel to Australia, which was really beneficial for us as well.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, actually, because I guess, as you said, in Europe, the teams were still managing to train and race together. I think we were in a different stage of lockdown to where you were. And that's an interesting point, that they were pretty limited by your geography or your location. But
yeah, it's really interesting in New Zealand, because we've had managed to keep COVID out. So we have a few lockdowns, and they're really, really strict, and we can't leave at all. And then managed to kind of keep the COVID out, and then it all opens up and we're totally free again, and we can have concerts and stadiums full of watching sporting games and stuff, which is really unique, I think, at these times. So it's but I think for those people who are wanting to travel for sport and stuff, it is quite tricky, because it's not easy to get home.
No, it's been a different setup, I guess, for everyone involved, and particularly for Olympic trialists and people trying to train for the games. It's obviously posed a huge logistical challenge, but very interesting what you've said there. And I wanted to hear from you about the horrific incident that happened in about it was pretty soon leading up to the games. You'll have to tell me exactly, but I believe it was only a couple of months before the games were due to happen, where an accident happened in Queensland when you were training and your trapeze wire had failed, resulting in you breaking a bone in your leg. I mean, I want to hear it from you, but I mean, it just must have been such an emotional roller coaster, so close to the games after everything that you've worked towards. So yeah, talk us through what happened and what happened with dealing with the aftermath.
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional roller coaster. So yeah, in our final kind of lead up to the games, we went to Queensland to sail with the Australian team. And on our first sail out, we'd been sailing about half an hour. My trapeze line snapped. Yeah, and I got hit by the rudder, and it was kind of straight away. I was like, "Oh, it's not good." But I really had no idea that it was broken at that point. So my coach, Jo, pulled me out of the water, and we went to hospital. And at this point, like, I still had my wetsuit on, and it hadn't kind of swollen up yet because I had this amazing compression boot which the Australians had given us. And then at the hospital, I took it off, and then within 10 minutes it just kind of blew up. And then we got the results of the x-rays, and they told me it was broken. And at this point, I'd already counted in my head, okay, I've got 5 weeks until I'm on the start line for the Olympic Games. Like, whatever it is, we can handle it. I really wasn't expecting it to be broken. And then they told me it was broken, and I was just like distraught for a little while. I felt a bit sorry. Like the doctor who told me, you could tell he was really nervous to tell me. So I felt a bit bad for him, but I had an amazing, my team were over there. My partner, Matt, was actually coaching, so he was there supporting as well. But one thing kind of stuck with me is later in the evening, one of the surgeons came up to me and he said, "Don't give up hope. Like, it's only 5 weeks. It's 5 weeks away. And, normally we say it takes 6 weeks to heal a bone, but there are exceptional circumstances where, you might be a fast healer, or, you're someone who has amazing support around you and has all the resources to help you get, as good as possible." So I kind of clung on to that, and then basically got in touch with my New Zealand medical team, and we kind of worked from there. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, yeah, amazing. Yeah, to have such an incident, such bad luck, but I guess it's just one of these things that happens. And how was Micah in all of this? Was he must have been just as gutted as you.
Yeah, he was. And I think in a way it's almost harder for him because, every day I was working on my rehab and always working to get better. But for him, I think it was, quite difficult. But we're very lucky that he stayed in Queensland, and we had one of the Kiwi sailors, Jack Honey, he flew over to Australia to train with Micah. So Micah and Jo were there, and they kept upskilling and kept sailing with the Australians, which was really beneficial. And this was while I was in New Zealand, and, I'd join in for debriefs every evening with them and tried to keep up the learning that way. So we definitely did, I guess, everything we could given the circumstances. And yeah.
No, amazing. And amazing that you did make it back and got to the start line of the game. So you mentioned that your coach, Jo Aleh, who herself is a former Olympic medalist in sailing. I wanted to ask how instrumental she has been in her experience, her guidance. I mean, to keep Micah on track, or to keep both of you on track in light of what has happened, but also that was your first Olympic game. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about how she's been a part of your journey and to get you where you are.
Yeah, Jo's been massive. She's been, we're a 3-person team. We're a double-handed boat, but we're a 3-person team, and she's been massive for us. We all get on really well, and we've got such a lot of it's based on trust, and we really trust each other, and we can be totally honest with each other on, things that might not be going right, and it kind of goes both ways, which is really cool. So any feedback we have for Jo, she takes it on, and likewise. And she's also, you know, she's been only recently competing herself, so she's really like kind of current and is really aware of some of the challenges that we face, you know, and some of these, I guess, she's good in difficult circumstances as well. Like we had when I broke my leg, she's, you know, really caring and, you know, always checking in how we're going and how we can, you know, keep working towards our goal, to the point where she even offered, like, she jumped on the boat with Micah and sailed with him a few times. Like, you know, she was willing to be a backup crew if we needed to. So she'd really go like above and beyond for us, which is, you know, we're very lucky. And on top of that, she's a very exceptional sailor and coach, and offers us, you know, so much in racing and all that. Yeah.
No, it's great. I mean, great to have that experience to tap into. And I mean, really, that was your first Olympic Games. What were your expectations? I mean, not just in terms of result, but I mean in terms of like the environment, or dealing with the pressure, or, you know, just your sort of thoughts about going into it, and what it was really like, and with the restrictions in place, and how the overall experience of going to an Olympic Games was.
Yeah, I mean, well, to start off with, you know, we're just very grateful to be there by that point. You know, I was in a wheelchair being pushed through the airport to get to Tokyo. So I was like, and then turned up at the boat park in crutches, and everyone was looking at me like, oh, wow, is she ready to sail? So I think for us, we were really grateful to be there. And, you know, this is something we'd worked towards for so many years, both like in separate partnerships and now together in a partnership. And so for it to finally be happening was, you know, so cool. And it was a different Olympics, like to normal, I guess. We didn't go to the opening ceremony, and we didn't stay at the Olympic Village because of COVID and all that. But I think in a way it's really unique, because the whole kind of New Zealand team really became almost tighter, I think, because of it. And we spent so much time together, and it's kind of something which you don't really get at other regattas. So it was really nice to, you know, feel like you're a part of such a strong team, and like representing New Zealand, like your country, on that kind of stage is so special. And, you know, all the media that were around and asking all these questions, and it was kind of, and seeing everyone at the boat park, all your friends, and like all their uniforms, and it was a really, really cool buzz.
Well, that's cool. It's great to hear. And I think, just chatting to other Olympians who have experienced Tokyo, they said it was almost easier an event than perhaps previous Olympics, because there was no crowds, there were less spectators, and it almost felt like it was, you know, treated as just another regatta, and it didn't have that added pressures. So it's a different perspective, but very interesting to hear about your Kiwi team, and perhaps the way that you've bubbled that together to be able to sort of grow as a team, and take strength and experience from the others within that team, and many who have been at the Olympics before. So interesting.
Yeah, it was quite cool being, you know, we were the only newbies in the New Zealand team. Right. Everyone else had been to the games before. So I think it was quite cool drawing off their experiences, and was very lucky to be part of such a good team.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And I guess just to finish up, and it's been fantastic to hear about your journey and really overcoming so many hurdles to get there. I mean, what lies ahead now? Is it all sights set for the next Olympic Games, or you've got some other projects lined up, or tell us what's on the horizon?
Yeah, so Micah and I are definitely going again for the next Games for Paris. So we're going to get back into it in December. So until then, we're taking a break from Nacra sailing. And I'm joining the New Zealand Sail GP team for the next 2 events. So I'm going to Saint-Tropez first, and then to Cadiz in Spain. So that will be really, really cool to join the team there, which I'm really excited for, because I was in Bermuda, which was the first event of this season, and then wasn't able to go to the other events because of the Olympics. So really excited to get there and get back on the F50. So yeah, that will be awesome.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. And it's been great watching the previous events and just seeing more and more opportunities for the female sailors that are involved in those teams to get integrated into the team. So that's great news. And I guess on a real final note is, I mean, for anyone listening out there that's got their aspirations set on the Olympic Games, and just hearing what you said so far about having your sights set on a goal and really just having to overcome a huge hurdle to get there. I mean, any advice to people that, have got their sights set on a goal, overcoming hurdles? Any thoughts?
Well, I guess, my Olympic journey's definitely had its ups and its downs. So I think that one thing I've taken away from it is that, don't give up. If, I didn't have a sailing partner for ages, and I was very close to kind of leaving Olympic sailing and getting a job in an office using my accounting degree. But I decided that, I wanted to keep at it and kind of jump at any opportunities that were given to me. So, whether it's just going for a sail with someone in a different class because you haven't sailed that class before, or, trying something else, I think just sticking at it, and all the skills you learn are all transferable. If you're sailing in a different boat to what, you might end up in the games, it's all relevant. So I think if you're not in the position you think that is kind of taking you on that path, then you might be quite surprised that actually, you can get there. So yeah, I'd say just stick at it and keep going for that goal.
I think that's, a great piece of advice about really just taking opportunities. And it's something that we hear again and again is really, and it's sometimes the opportunities that seem the least likely to make a connection or to lead you somewhere that actually turn out to be the most surprising ones. So really important to make most of everything, and as you said, to keep plugging away. Erica, thank you so much for sharing your journey, and it's been fantastic to hear, and we'll be looking forward to following your progress in the years ahead, and hopefully, fingers crossed, a smoother journey into the Paris Games in 2024. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Abby.
Well, that concludes this episode of The Sailing Show, where we've heard from two very different pathways to the Tokyo Olympic Games and some amazing experiences and stories from along the way, touching on determination and confidence. If you've enjoyed listening to the show, please subscribe and share this episode if you know someone who would benefit from listening. And please continue to follow the Magenta Project on our website and social media. And to keep up to date on women's sport in general, not just sailing, check out Wisp Sports online and social media. Thanks for your time, and I appreciate you tuning in.